Well, welcome everybody to the channel. This is a new type of content that I'm trying to create. I love talking about songwriting, and I've been doing it since 1994. And so if I did the math correctly, that would be about 32 years at the making of this. And so it doesn't mean that I'm very good at it. It doesn't mean I'm great at it. It doesn't mean any of that. It's just that I have learned some things over the course of time, and I would like to give that away. And this video primarily is about, if you're thinking about songwriting, I just want to encourage you to do it because it's such an exciting time. Just doing it is so exciting. And I'm a singer songwriter. If you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know that I have written a few songs. Those aren't even half the songs that I've written. They're just the ones that I'm the most proud of, and more to come. I'm still recording and still putting my songs together. I have learned multiple things through my songwriting journey, and I just thought maybe someone might need to hear what I've learned through the years. So free advice, take it as you will. But if you're about to start writing your first song, or if you've been writing songs, or you find yourself about to write your second one or whatever, I just want to let you know, I want to encourage you to just keep on writing. Or if you haven't written one yet, but you feel like that's something you want to do, just start right away, right? Just start now. As soon as you have a moment, just start writing. That's the thing to do, because it's so exciting to write something that has never existed before. When you're done with your song, you will be the only person that knows that song exists. You're the only one that has access to that particular song, and that is a great feeling. And I feel like my mic is leaving me. It's like going down. But I find that very fascinating. And I love that about songwriting. Now, if you're collaborating with somebody else, which is also very exciting to do, it'll be both of you, right? Or three of you, or whoever you're writing with. You're the only ones that know it exists, and you get to talk about that. So that's exciting. This particular video is not about the rewriting process, but in my humble opinion, the writing is the fun part of the whole journey. The rewriting is really what's going to separate songwriters that are okay from the songwriters that do really well. It's the rewriting process. It's where you fine-tune your song. It's where you're thinking about everything. And so I would encourage you to get your song down and then start that rewriting process. But because the songwriting is amazing. So that's that. But while you're writing your song, you're going to start to make many decisions. And the first decision that you're going to need to make is what the structure of your song is going to be. And the best thing that I have learned to do is to think of a song that I like. Right? There's a song on the radio possibly that I like. There's a song that's on Spotify that I like. There's a song that I've heard on Pandora that I really like. So I listen to that and I start to analyze that. But in songwriting, you're going to have to make multiple decisions. And one of the decisions you're going to have to make is what the structure of your song is going to be. And the structure that I'm talking about is whether or not your song is going to have an intro, like it's going to have like a instrumental intro, or it's going to have a verse 1, a chorus, then a verse 2, and then a chorus, and then a bridge, and then back to the chorus, and then maybe another chorus, and then, the same chorus, but repeated again. You're going to have to figure that out. But there's also a pre-chorus. Am I going to put that in between verse 1 and the chorus? Those are the things that you are kind of have to figure out. And the best thing that I've done for myself is I've thought about a song that I really like and then just model after that. That's what I've done for countless years. If I really like songs that have a verse and then a chorus, then a verse and then a chorus and then a repeat of the chorus, then that's the way I'm going to write my song. If I like songs that have a chorus and then a pre-chorus, or a verse and then a pre-chorus and then a chorus, I'm going to try to write that kind of song. But what I've learned is that if you save that pre-chorus for the time and in a song where you need to say a little bit more, but you don't want to, write a whole nother 4 lines, but you've got a couple lines, you got a little bit more to say, and you need a little bit more time. Save it for that and save it for that time. But think, I'm going to write my verse, possible pre-chorus if I need it, and then chorus. That's what I'm going to try to do, and have a lot of fun with it. That's the main thing. So you're going to make a decision on your structure. It can be anything. Not all songs have to have a chorus. Not all songs have to have all of these parts. But the great ones, the ones that come to my mind, typically have a verse, typically have a chorus, and typically have a second verse, chorus, bridge, and then an ending. Many of them flow just like that. It doesn't mean yours does, but many of them do. So that's the first thing you're going to do. You're also going to have to make a decision how you're going to come up with that structure, right? Are you going to model after another song? Or are you going to do what I call the natural flow? So I start singing, I start writing, I start putting something down, and then I go, okay, this is where that verse ends, chorus begins. I'm going to start writing. I'm going to make sure I have that, and then I'm going to write my second verse, and then I just let it flow. Then when I maybe go back to rewriting, I go, well, I needed to say a little bit more here, so maybe I'm going to add my second verse there, and then chorus, and then have a third verse, and try to mix things up, because maybe I have more words to give to this song, so I have to change the structure. So you can allow it to have a natural flow if you're not rigid in your structure. If you're not, okay, my song has to have a verse, it has to have a chorus, it has to have this. No, there are no rules in writing. There's guidelines, but there's no set rule. Okay, so your song can truly be unique. It totally can. It can be all that you want it to be, all that you can make it. The next thing is rhyming. You're going to come up with whether you like rhyming, whether you don't, right? You don't want all of the rhymes to be the same. You don't really want to have every line has to rhyme after this one, and then this one and this one. But you could do the first 2 lines rhyme. The next one maybe rhymes with the following one. That's a very common rhyming scheme. Or you could do rhyming the first one with the 3rd line, the second one with the 4th line. There's so many different ideas here. Or you could do what I think is best, and that is just say what you want to say. Just put it down, say what you want to say, and don't worry about rhyming. If it rhymes, that's great. If it doesn't, just say what you want to say. It's your song. You can do what you want to do. And in the rewriting, if you're able to make it sound better with a rhyme, by all means do it. But it doesn't have to. You don't have to do that. So just say what you want to say what the song needs, and then move on, and maybe go back when you do the rewrite and have a rhyming. So you're going to have to come up with the rhyming scheme. The third thing that you're going to have to do, and this is a battle, this is something I battle with, you're going to have to set the length of your verse and your chorus. When you write verse 1, then you're going to set the length of your verse. And it's kind of like boxing it in. You now have a wall on this side, and you now have a wall on this side, and you've set the length. And if you write like I do, you may have lengthened something to take care of some of the words you wanted to, like to add the words in and let it sound natural. So now you have verse 1 that sounds really natural, as if you wrote the song for those words. But when verse 2 comes along, you have to fit new words into the box that you've created. And that is a huge challenge, because what you want to do, especially in country music, is you want your second verse to sound just as good as the first one that you intended to write the tune around, and better off if you can make the second verse even better than the first verse. Because why is somebody continuing to listen to your song? Is because you've got them captivated with the verse, you got them captivated with the tune, you got them captivated with the chorus, you're going into the second verse, and now you need to do something amazing. And so if you can not cram the words into the box, but have them fit just as well as or better than verse 1, then you're a songwriter and you're gonna be great at it. But it is a huge challenge because you've set this box, you've set the limitations of what you can fit in there. So then the fifth thing that you're going to need is believability, especially in a country song. You're going to need to be able to have the audience believe your song. Whether it's you living out in the country, you're going out in the country, you're by they even say it like bonfire. Some of those songs, cliche words choices that just come up all the course of all the time, right? Some of those words that come up all the time, that's very hard. And I mean, I try to stay away from some of that, but if your song needs it, by all means do it. And so, but believability, that's a big thing. Believability, man. If you were driving in your truck and you were doing this and you were in the bed of your truck and you were here and you were there, make sure it's something that could actually happen. Now, what's fun to do is to exaggerate a moment, right? Comedians do this all the time. They exaggerate a moment. Jerry Seinfeld does this really well. I think he has a bit about peanuts on a plane, and you know how hard it is to open up those packages, and he makes it really funny. The moment has happened to almost all of us, and they are very hard to open, and so you're there with the comedian as he's telling you about that. Same thing as we're writing songs. Make sure we're there with you, exaggerate the moment, and make it funny. If that's the kind of song you want to write, make it funny, but exaggerate something that could possibly happen and make it bigger, larger than life. That's a big deal. So that's the other one. The other thing is like the way that you're going to write. If you have an idea for a song, and I would say to wait a little bit on something like this, but I think all songwriters end up thinking this is going to be a good thing to do in a song, and that is to move along in time. So like if you had somebody that started out as a child, and then the child grew up into a teenager, and then the child was a teenager, turned into an adult, and got married, and then had children, and so you move along in time. The moving along in time songs are probably the most challenging songs to write, because you have to really pay attention to storytelling, and you have to really pay attention to whether or not the audience can follow along with you, and you're taking them on a journey, but did you lose anybody? That's the question. So I would hold off on that, but I would do like a fun song. I would do a love song. I would do songs like that. But of course, just start immediately and have a lot of fun with it. Just do what you can do, and don't think like my song has to be the next big hit. My song has to be on the scale from 1 to 10, and it has to land on a 10. No, it doesn't have to land on a 10. It can actually not even be on the scale. And I'm going to show you a song that I've written that I would say is a negative 10. Like if there was a scale from 1 to 10, it would be negative 10. And it's the very first song I have ever written, and it was back when I was 16. This is the cover of my journal. I will try to put it up in somewhere around in here. And but it says on the cover Jay's songs, and it says country songs wrote myself. That's how good my English was back in the day. And so yeah, we're in for a real treat with this. But these are the very first 24 songs that I wrote from 16 to 17. And back in 1994, and so they're not very good. The first song, and I'll try to put the words up somewhere. I doubt if you'll be able to read it, but It's called They're Always There. And it's a Christian country song. I lived in a Christian home, and so it just kind of was a natural outpouring of that. But it's called They're Always There. And the first verse goes, you could kiss a woman goodnight. You could hold her really tight. You could sing your kids a lullaby. You could find a four-leaf clover. You could play Red Rover. He's always there. The one thing that I like about this, and just to talk about myself, looking now back, I rhymed night and tight from the first two lines, and then I didn't rhyme at all on the third line. You could sing your kids a lullaby. It doesn't have anything to do with the rest for rhyming. The next one is you could find a four-leaf clover. You could play Red Rover. He's always there. So clover and rover rhyme, and he's always there doesn't rhyme at all. But then the chorus comes in and says, he's always there when you're down. He's always there when you go to town. He's always there to turn your frown upside down. He's always there to hold you, and he's always there to mold you. He's always there. This is my very first song, so don't make fun of me. No, you can. It's fine. I think it's funny because there is absolutely no rhyming scheme here. I go, you're down, go to town, upside down. And then the next two lines, I do the hold you, and then I do mold you. He's always there. And the reason why I'm doing this and reading this with you is because I want you to see that songwriting is actually doing this very thing. Picking yourself apart. Letting yourself be your worst critic. Letting yourself know, okay, did I do well here? Did I do well here? No, I didn't. Yes, I did. Okay. And the next verse says, this is hilarious. You could stare at the moon. You could comb your hair with a broom. You could take a rocket to the moon. You could whistle a sweet tune. You could play the video Dune. He's always there. So here we have a rhyming scheme. Remember, this is 16-year-old me. I'm now 46. So moon, broom, moon, tune, dune, and then he's always there. Like it's just, you could take anything. I'm sure I was looking around the room. I'm sure I was just looking at things like, oh, I could sweep my room. Oh, he's always there. I could go to town. Oh, he's always there. You know, that kind of a thing. And then I wrote a third verse. You could read your Bible and pray. You could listen to what he has to say. You could let him fill you in every way. You could keep him as a friend. You could pray and speak to him. Now, that rhyme right there, I would say is pretty good for a 16-year-old kid, because as a friend and then pray and speak to him, that doesn't really rhyme. It's like a slant rhyme. And I think that's really good. And then he's always there. And then, of course, you go back to the chorus. So this was a structure of verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, verse 3, chorus. And then I may have repeated the chorus or not. And as a treat, I do remember the tune to this song. And it went, you could kiss a woman goodnight. You could hold her really tight. And you could sing your kids a lullaby. You could find a four-leaf clover. You could play Red Rover is always there. And I'm gonna add, he's always there. He's always there when you're down. He's always there when you go to town. He's always there to turn your frown upside down. He's always there to hold you. He's always there to mold you. He's always there. He's always there. So we won't go into any more of that. But that's the so I wrote that song. I'm sharing it with you to encourage you to keep going. If you check out some other songs on my channel, they are way better than that. In my humbled opinion, I've moved on to better songs, but this is where you start. And I wrote that song November 3rd, 1994. I was age 16, and it was song number 1. I just want to give you guys that encouragement. When I turned 17, I started writing in this book. I got this book a long time ago. So I started putting songs in this book, and this particular song that I'm going to show you next, I wrote when I was 17, after the first 24. So I want you to know that if you have a great songwriter, if you know a great songwriter, and I'm not saying I'm great, I'm just saying if you know somebody, guaranteed there's probably a bunch of songs in their past that aren't very great, but now they are writing great songs. Their first one was probably not very good, but there are people who can write a really good song the first time, right? It's just talent, and the rest of us are just going to have to struggle through it and try to find that one song that's really good. But this next song I wrote, it looks like I wrote it in 1995, so I would have been 17, and I rewrote this song with my wife in 2002, and it's called "A Big Spender." And the words, and I believe these are the same: "Sugar honey baby, I need some money. I give her 5, but she takes my 20. She goes off on a shopping spree, and I'm home with my TV. Now she's out having a wonderful time, trying on clothes with the latest designs, but I'm at home and she's out spending my money." So that's the song that I wrote when I was 17. I did not have a wife at that time. One great thing about songwriting is you can kind of emulate what it would be like. I think that's pretty good, good if I don't say so myself, being 17 and trying to come up with something funny. I liked being funny as a teenager. And so I was writing that way. The verse goes, "Well, look at her go into each store. She knows something in there is worth paying for. Inside, look at her go down every aisle. She knows something in there is worthwhile to buy for her or get a manicure. Pretty nails sure ain't free. Then she'll come home and want more money from me." So I start off with the chorus in this song. I go to a verse 1. So this is a totally different structure, right? Totally different structure. So I've got the chorus first, then I've got the verse 1, then I'm going to go back to the chorus. Then I did write a second verse, and that verse goes, "She made an appointment with the beauty salon. She's out right now trying dresses on. When she finds 20 that fit just right, she'll bring home more clothes than she'll wear in a lifetime. Her wardrobe is getting mighty full, and I'm down to a set of clothes, but she doesn't notice. She just keeps on spending money." So I find some of that pretty funny and some of that pretty good, right? The timing of all of that when you're singing it, I think comes out a little bit better than me just kind of chiming in on that. But am I really rhyming? Let's look at some of this rhyming scheme. Let's look at that first verse, right? "Well, look at her go into each store." So that's one line. "She knows something is worth paying for." So I've got store and for. Inside, look at her go down every aisle. She knows something is worthwhile, right? So I've got aisle and while. To buy for her or get a manicure. So we've got her and cure. Pretty nails sure ain't free. Then she'll come home and want more money from me. So I've got the free and the me. So I've got this rhyming thing going on, which sounds pretty good. So my encouragement to you is to just keep on writing songs. So this particular one goes, "Sugar honey baby, I need some money. I give her 5, but she takes my 20. She goes off on a shopping spree, and I'm home with my TV. Now she's out having a wonderful time, trying on clothes with the latest designs, but I'm at home and she's out spending my money. Well, look at her go into each store. She knows something in there is worth paying for. Inside, look at her go down every aisle. She knows something in there is worthwhile to buy for her. Get a manicure, those nails sure ain't free. Well, she'll be home and want more money from me." And then it goes back to the chorus. But that's a song And I don't really sing, I don't really even try, but it's good to keep records of all that you're doing. I use voice memos to capture the tune because I guarantee tomorrow I might not remember the tune, and it allows me to say, this is what I have done. I can come back to it later. So happy writing. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully that helps you just to find your little niche, find what you want to write. If you want to write country music, really find the songs that speak to you and analyze them. Really look at them. I'm going to talk about one more song, and that's not mine. It's actually done by Clint Black, and it is Leaving Here a Better Man. It is probably the song that got me started in songwriting. I absolutely loved that song back in the day. It didn't come out in 1994. It came out earlier, but it was still being played on the radio. And I'm sorry, Clint Black, I did record your song off the radio at that time because I wanted to learn how to play it. And it taught me so many things about country music and about what I liked in a song. And that song has a intro, like an instrumental intro, then it has a verse, a chorus, a verse, and then a chorus. And at the end, he changes the chorus, one of the lines at the end, and it just ties everything together. And so if you haven't listened to that song in a long time, I highly encourage you to listen to it. It's such a great song. It's Leaving Here a Better Man by Clint Black. And it's just a great song. It's really well written. And if I remember correctly, I believe that song just kind of catapulted his career. He was new on the scene and it just kind of like exploded. And then, of course, Killing Time was a great hit of his as well. So if you don't know, I'm just a huge Clint Black fan. So take a look, listen to those songs that really speak to you and analyze them. Look at them and say, what do I like about it? What do I like about it? Oh, just one more thing, and then I'll end the video. But welcome to the community of songwriters. We are super excited that you're here, and we're super excited that you're starting on this journey, or you have started on this journey. And the great thing is if you find a fellow songwriter and you get to sing your song for them, they're going to give you the best feedback. They're going to know what it took to write a verse, to write a chorus, and they're going to give you great feedback. So get your song to a fellow songwriter and get some really good feedback. The other feedback you'll get are for people who say they play the radio really well, right? They don't play an instrument, they don't write music, but they love to listen to it. They're going to tell you a lot about the beat, about the feel, about the things that are happening in your song, or they really grabbed you, really sucked you in, or it did something. So you need both feedback, but if you can find a fellow songwriter, they're going to give you, I believe they're going to give you some honest feedback. And I'm hoping to make a video about how you know when somebody is giving you honest feedback. And if you would like a video like that, just put a thumbs up on this one and maybe put in the comments, yes, I would like to know how I know someone is giving me honest feedback, because I'll guarantee we've all got feedback and someone lets us know, yeah, man, that was a great song. But you don't know if they really mean it or not. So you guys have a great day. Happy writing, and I'll see you in the next video.